let's get started. First of all, I would like to welcome Stephane Ab- Aboutan. Is that how you say your name, Stephane?
Yeah,
And Aziz, I do not know Aziz's last name. Aziz Nasir is that
Ait Nacer.
I Nasir.
Yeah,
Stefan and Aziz are with the Villa Riad located in Marrakesh, Morocco, and they are our guests today. So we're really excited to have them today. What we're going to do is we are going to ask them a series of questions that will kind of give you a flavor of their villa, their riad there, what's going on in Marrakesh at the moment, and what they see the future to be like, and when they feel like that travel will open up again in Marrakesh. So I think we have a very interesting show planned for you today. And let's get started. Stefan, tell us a little bit about yourself and really how you became the owner of the Dar Ayniwen and a hotelier.
So actually, I did hotel management school because I always wanted to do that, and I was very interested in everything that has to do with hotels and restaurants. I have been a chef for a while, and I've done a lot in the hotel industry. And then my father decided to transform the family home into a guest house. When this happened, he asked me to come back because I was abroad, and I came back to run the place with Aziz.
So, Aziz, it sounds like you were involved with Stefan's father
yeah,
before. Okay, so can you maybe explain that relationship a little bit, like how you're involved with Dar Ayniwen?
yeah. During the at the end of the 2000, I was fresh out of the hotel management school that I did here in Marrakesh, and I was looking for a job. I met with Mr. Abtan, the father. We did an interview. It was the first one. It was good. The second one, and I've been hired, and I have been Dar Ayniwen since November 2000. And sometime to bother Stefan, I told him, okay, I was here before you. I mean,
Yes.
Well, I can attest to Aziz has his pulse or his finger on everything. He knows exactly what is going on, who the guests are. I mean, it's like osmosis. So he uh, I could see how maybe he could share with Stefan. Maybe we should do it this way. It's Stefan would just say, okay, 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 Aziz. Why don't you share with our listening audience really what your role is in terms of the manager, etc.
yes, actually, we take care of the guests from the morning. I mean, once we come in the morning, we still focus on the guests. Once they take their breakfast, what they will do, what they want during the day. That means we take care of all the sitting. If they want to organize excursions, what they want for lunch, breakfast, for dinner. That means we really focus on taking care of the guests as well as the house, of course, all the maintenance and we actually all the day we have always something to do. That means with the guests, and we focus everything on the guests, as well as we take always a little bit of time. For example, in the morning we do always a briefing with Stefan. We talk about what we will do next. That means all the marketing and all the merchandising of the house, all the contract with the travel agents. We add special offers. We move pictures from here. That means we work on these marketing things almost every day. I mean, and especially before all the big events, for example, Christmas, New Year's Eve, all the French holidays, European holidays. I mean, we work on that a little bit long time ahead.
Well, I know that it seems like that there's always something um, being taken care of at the Dar Ayniwen, even if it's like in 11 o'clock at night. I remember when I when I first no, when I first landed in Marrakesh, uh, your driver picked me up, brought me to the villa, and I was wide awake because flying all that time. I mean,
Yeah,
basically, it seemed like I had been up almost 2 days, but I still was wired up. So I went to you and I said, Aziz, I would like to go to the Medina, but I don't know how long that I can stay. So you arranged with your shuttle that leaves
yeah,
every 20 minutes to take me to the Medina. You told me exactly how to, where the spot
yeah.
was. So I felt very comfortable. I went there. I had a nice dinner. I got henna tattooed by one of the the little ladies
The
in the
ladies. Yeah,
square, and then it started to get dark, and I found my way back to where the shuttle point was. I went back to the hotel, and I still was kind of uh uh, uh not I didn't want to sleep, and I sat there, and all of a sudden, one of and I call them the butlers because it seems like everybody who stays at the Dar Ayniwen has a butler, and he just
yeah.
came up very, very subtly and said, "Would you like some tea, or would you like, glass of wine?" And I said, "I think I just want soup." And he said, "Oh, no problem." So he got me delicious soup, glass of wine. I went back to the room and I crashed. So, when he talks about what he does and what a typical day at the Dar Ayniwen is like, I mean, they are in tune with the guest and what is happening on the grounds at all times. And it is something that it's not contrived either. It seems very organic in how you do it,
Yeah.
Aziz.
We try also to give to the guest the best service as they would find in a 5 star. Besides, it was very personalized. I mean, we try to do the very luxury and personalized service to every guest because, as you may know, everyone has his own requests, special requests. For example, some guests they want to go to the city late in the evening to see the night markets, and we told them, okay, we give them a lot of tips because we are born in Marrakesh, both me and Stephane. That means we know very well Marrakesh, and we try to give to the guests a lot of tips. That means, for example, they want to go very late in the evening. We say, okay, it's summer, you can go. It's summer. That means you can go no deep in the souks. That means just stay around the main square to see the night markets, to see the show. And some guests they want to have dinner, as you told me. That means, as I told you, we really try to personalize service for each guest. That means we don't have a set things and we told the guests, okay, do that. No, depending what they want.
Astrid and I were talking about this before, and we agreed that all of the staff, like, and including you and Stephane, are very perceptive, and your experience as a guest is highly tailored. You guys really go just above and beyond to make sure that our personal needs are met, which is something that I think is not all too common in the hotel industry anymore. So I wanted to ask you, are most of the staff Moroccan? Are they from Morocco? Because one thing I noticed was that everyone was so warm and kind, and I feel like there was like this Moroccan hospitality, and I felt like that was something that was a common thread throughout our entire trip in Morocco, in Marrakesh.
Yeah, no, all our team are Moroccans, and it's some of them. I think more than half they've been in a hotelry management school. That means, for example, the chef and thing. But even with their diploma and all thing, that means they need to be in Dar Ayniwen mode. That means Stephane train the chef and the waiters. That means the garden guy. That means Stephane is always here. That means he told them, okay, you learn that at school, but it's not work at Dar Ayniwen. This is how it must be. That means we really try to find some kind people not really. If they don't speak English, they speak English, but they will not speak English fluently. But they are very nice with people and very kind. This is what we want. That means we want the real Moroccan touch of Moroccans in Dar Ayniwen. And as I told you, Stephane is always here. That means he know everyone. We bring them from the school, and we might bring 10 people, and he may choose only one. He say, okay, this one will work for Dar Ayniwen and Dar Ayniwen guests. These ones, no. Even if the guys speak 5, 6 languages, say, okay, no, it's not for the guests of Dar Ayniwen. Because we have a very special guest, and that we try, they come as a guest on the beginning, but they become friends. That mean, and they come back, and they come back. And I will tell you a little story. Maybe Stephane will tell you that later on. We had one of our friend of the house. I mean, they've been guests with us for the last 17 years. And he came on the first time just as a couple, and they bring the kids. And the best thing that we had in the last 21 of the best highlight that we had in the last 20 years, that we did married one of his girl. The girl came, she being 5 years or 6 years old. And she came to ask me for the cartoons movie, and we organized her wedding last September. I mean, it was one of the highlights of Dar Ayniwen and one of the biggest stories that we had.
Wow, that's incredible.
And that really does share the what is the reason. There's something so special about the Dar Ayniwen that people do come back over and over. I know when Madeline and I created the travel club and the different trips that we have and that we offer. I mean, Marrakesh was on the top of our list, and it was actually our first trip that we did with the club. And it of course we had to go to the Dar Ayniwen because that was half of how fabulous we feel like traveling to Marrakesh is. So, okay, well, let's keep it going. What, Aziz, what has life been like at the Dar Ayniwen during the pandemic? Just give us the bottom line.
It was a little bit hard as we had no guests during the pandemic period, but we tried to be connected. I stay connected with Stephane every day, all time, to try to maintain to work on the maintenance of the house, and we see what we can do on the marketing thing. But we had no guests. That means everything it was closed. But we still have a part of our team working on set. For example, the garden guy, because we need to keep our garden. We cannot let it down. But that's it. The rest of the team being at home. That means, but we try to keep the house and maintain it, because to close a house like that for 7 months already, that means it was a little bit hard. But we try really to keep the maintenance, and we try to prepare our reopening, because we had a lot of idea with Stephane that we need to retouch the house, repaint some little thing, modify things. That means we worked on that during the pandemic period, and we're still working on that now. Yeah. We had one thing at Dar Ayniwen that we never do maintenance and works signs once the guests are on set. That means if we need to do refreshment of the house, we close the whole hotel. That means we never do refreshment of the house and the guests are there, because it's a place of quietness. That means we cannot have works and the guests are there. That means this is the one of the things that we cannot do.
Aziz, what are y'all going to do? I say y'all, I'm from the South. In terms of cleanliness and new safety standards, with cleanliness.
We have already things on that we did before, but things are changing a little bit now with the pandemic. But we really hope that things will get as they were before, and we will change a lot of things. For example, for the protection, like that, we will wrap the product that we put in the rooms for the guests. We have some little idea like that, but we work on a lot of things, as well as what the government said, because we need to respect our protocol, sanitary protocol from the government that the government sets, and we work on that. But we have some little idea on that.
I have to say the cleanliness standards at the Dar Ayniwen are second to none. especially in this part of the world. So I don't think anybody should be concerned about uh, uh, that they will put themselves in any kind of bad situation because of cleanliness.
Right. So one thing that I was talking to Astrid about before we started the call was one of the places that I really would love to go after, we are able to travel again is Marrakesh. And that is largely due to Dar Ayniwen. And one of the main things I think that you have going for you that would make me feel more comfortable traveling and staying someplace is you have all of this property. You have, is it 5 acres of gardens? And a lot of space to be outside. A lot of the meals can be had on the outdoor terrace, and there's plenty of room for you to space yourself out from other guests. You don't feel like if people are concerned, like they have ample room to be outside and in the fresh air, like that would make me definitely feel comfortable as a traveler. And there's just a high level of privacy, like even within the house. Everything's, the rooms are spread out. People have their space to breathe already. So that's just inherently part of the experience.
And all our rooms have access out to the garden. That means they have enough, that means the air is fresh. And we have only 11 rooms in 5 acres of parkland. That means it's, as you say, that means the rooms are spread out in all the property, and all the rooms have direct access to the garden. Or we have only 2 rooms upstairs. They have a private terraces. That means it's always fresh air.
Right. So you don't have to feel trapped. I think a lot of people are concerned, well, if I travel, am I going to be stuck in a hotel? And even some of these other riads in Marrakesh that are in the Medina, like it would feel easy to feel a little trapped.
Yeah. No, in our case, no. We have all the rooms have direct access to the garden. I mean, it's easy. That mean, and even once the guests are outside in the gardens, they have enough space. That mean, as I told you, we have 5 acres of parkland around the pool, and they can sit wherever they wish. We have many spots where the guests they can relax.
One of the things that I remember that was so special when I stayed there, well, when also that first day when I came, you said, "Well, I'm going to give you a tour of the hotel or the villa and the ground." So you took me through all of, the beautiful formal dining room tent, which is fabulous with all of these oriental rugs and the beautiful Moroccan lighting and the fireplaces, and it's so beautifully Moroccan. And then you shared with me Stephane's aviary and all of the exotic birds, and then you took me through the different gardens and showed me the different suites, etc. And I thought, my God, this is beyond belief. And you told me, you said that the Dar Ayniwen is favored by the French film industry, and that you've had through the years many people involved in the French film industry. And actually, there had been a movie done there. And I thought, well, this is perfect. This is a movie setting. So when you say that the the gardens and etc., you've got plenty of space.
Yep.
You not only have plenty of space, it is
Sure.
It's like paradise. It's gorgeous.
What Aziz, would you say, besides like the garden and everything else that we talked about, sets Dar Ayniwen apart from other riads in Marrakesh?
We have that question of space and quietness. I mean, we are one of the rare hotels in Marrakesh that they have only 11 rooms in 5 acres of parkland. Excellence in service, it's one of our highlight. Food, well, that means, and we are always constant in improvement to have bio products, because Stephane have a little farm close by Dar Ayniwen, and we try to have bio products for our guests. Also, that means the comfort of a 5 stars hotel. This is a minimum thing that we can give to our guests, as well as the made tailor service. That means we try to treat the guests one by one. That means each guest, depending on their requests and their wishes, and we try to work on that. And we try to help them the best. That means of their wish. As I told you, that means it's a very personal service. Also, one thing that's not every hotel in Marrakesh have that it's a real guest house, because the owner it's there. That means all long year, Stephane is there. We have that advantage that the owner is on sit. That means he can see everything. He live in on sit in a part, and actually it was a family home. That means it was lived by his father, all his family, and that means they live on the property, not in the hotel, in another part of the property, and they're there full of time. And this is a very good point that the guests love. That means once they came to a family home and they find the owner there, it's very important for them. And to talk to the owner, and Stephane is a very passionate man also about the garden and the birds. They took them for a little tour, and it's a good advantage that we have comparing to the other classic hotels, if we can say.
It's a very personalized and personable experience, if that makes sense. Everybody that works there is so warm, and I guess I can't really say, because I've only been to Marrakesh once and I've only stayed at Dar Ayniwen. I haven't stayed at some of these other riads, but I have been into them, and we even had dinner at a riad in the Medina, and the atmosphere is just different. The atmosphere is just incomparable to Dar Ayniwen. It just, even seeing these other riads reaffirms the sense that Dar Ayniwen is the place to stay in Marrakesh. Like, there is just no other place like it, and it is due to the fact that everybody that works there is carefully vetted by yourself and the owner who lives there. So it's, you all have a vested interest as well, because you're there every day and you have to work with these people. And I think there needs to be this cohesion that just makes everything work. It makes for an inviting environment that your guests definitely pick up on.
Well said, Madeline. I don't think I could have added anything to that. I mean, I have stayed in fabulous places for the last, I've been traveling for the last 45 years. And, a lot of them are beautiful. They have something special about them, but they can be very cold or depersonalized, or just, they're an escape, but you're ready to come home. The Dar Ayniwen, I mean, you could be quarantined there for a year or whatever, and be totally at ease at home, and it's has such a refined essence to it. And like I was sharing at the beginning with Stephane, I think it reflects something in his family's consciousness, and it started there, it's still there, and even the guests, the people that end up choosing to stay at the Dar Ayniwen, I think it's very amazing that you have such interesting guests that stay there, and they end up meeting each other. I know I wanted to go on a tour to the Atlas Mountains. Well, I was in Marrakesh as a solo traveler. So I asked you, Aziz, I said, well, I want to go here. And then this Indian couple, they were both, they lived in, I think, Manchester. They were two doctors. They also wanted to go on this Atlas trip. So we kind of looked at each other and said, well, do you want to do this together? And they said, well, why not? So you arranged that. We had the best day. We got along so wonderfully. And then we had breakfast with each other every day until we, both of us left.
Yeah.
We are still friends from that.
Good.
Yes. And what I'm saying is we just had a natural affinity for each other. And I think, your hotel draws certain types of people there. And I know after I think it was the second morning after I had gotten to know them on that little tour, I asked them, so, well, why did y'all choose the Dar Ayniwen? I was just curious because I know in my thought process, I always do a lot of research before I decide where I'm going to stay because your hotel makes so much, or where you're staying makes so much of a difference on what type of quality trip you'll have. I mean, you can stay in a fabulous hotel, but if it's cold and dead, I mean,
Yeah.
you know what I'm saying.
Yeah.
You don't want to come back to it, or it's just
No.
okay. All right.
Yeah.
Well, I
True.
asked them why they chose it. I said because I was a little concerned it was outside of the Medina, and and they said,
Yeah.
well, we kind of had a little bit of the same reservation, but there was something about it when we really were reading, et cetera, and we just took the chance. And they said, "Oh my God!" Especially the lady. She said, "This place is just much better than we even thought." And so I share that because there's certain types of people, I think, even that end up gravitating to the Dar Ayniwen. And
Yeah.
I know for myself, they've become personal friends. And I feel like that, I want to do everything I can to support you and Stefan as we all
Thank
move
you.
forward because y'all are so
Yeah.
special.
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you so much. Yeah.
Yes.
So I know generally you get a lot more, it seems at least, European travelers than say Americans. But I know that we were going to ask Stefan this question as well. There's a connection to the French film industry. Can you maybe do you know about this? Can you maybe explain that a little bit?
Yeah, it started on the beginning of the opening. That means we had one of the movie producer. It was a guest, that means normal guest like everyone. And after they start to split the words between them. And time to time, we had one of the stars, that means the star, as you may say in our war, we had Monica Bellucci and these kind of people, as well as other ones. They want to be discreet, of course. We respect their choice. We cannot talk about them, but we had some guests like that, as well as Stefan on his beginning. That means he worked very well on that sense, and he brought us a lot of fashion model shooting. And we had some people until now, they start to come time to time to do a little bit of shooting there. That means for the model shooting. Yeah, but now since we are a little bit busy all long year, it's a little bit hard to have them with the guests because or our guests because they need quietness, or the shooting model because it's a lot of work and it's noisy a little bit. We cannot do that. But if we have the opportunity and we have less guests and it's quiet, we do time to time. We do a little bit of model shooting. Yeah.
No, I know when I checked into the villa, you told me, you said, well, I noticed all of the photographs of some of these French film industry actresses, producers, etc. And I said, who are they? And you shared that with me, but you didn't say too much who they were. I wouldn't have known. And you said, and the room that you'll be staying in is a certain actress's famous room, a favorite room. And that room is fabulous.
You've been in the Shahrazad suite.
Yes.
But between us, the team, that means Stefan and all the team of the house, we named it Monica Suite because we used to have Monica Bellucci. She been on that room each time when she come back to the house. She won that suite. And just between us, we cannot say that online, but we say just between us, the team, we say, okay, it's Monica Suite. It's quick to say Monica to say Shahrazad. That means a little bit longer. And we say Monica Suite.
That's what you did. And I went, oh, this is, and then you go down. Well, the Dar Ayniwen, the villa itself is just exquisite. It's furnished with Moroccan antiques. It has gorgeous Moroccan detailed stained glass windows, a fountain that comes as you come in. Well, you come into a courtyard that has a fountain and a sitting area with kind of a focal point and a garden. It's beautiful. And then you go into the home itself, and there's another kind of loggia or area where there's a fountain inside the house. And then you have the beautiful living room on one side and the dining room and the piano. And then you go down the hall and you begin to go to the different suites. And I mean, I was just mesmerized. I thought, oh, this is this is fabulous. And then when you got to my room, I don't think you led me to my room. Somebody else did. He pulls out this enormous
Yeah.
key. And I
Yeah.
thought, oh my goodness, this is really an antique key. This key was
Sure.
it's 6 inches long at least. I mean, it's huge. You walk into the suite, oriental rugs, gorgeous artwork, the bathroom, all of the fabulous Moroccan tiles.
Yeah.
In my particular, in the Sherazade,
Shahrazad. Yeah.
yeah, suite, they had all of these antique French perfume bottles.
Different bottles. Yeah.
Oh, they were just, I mean, it's a museum.
So
It's
Yeah.
where
gorgeous.
where do these furnishings come from? Were they there when Stephane's father built the house or furnished the house? What's their story?
No. Actually, because Stefan will tell you that because the house, it was built from ground zero. That means once Stefan's father bought the land, it was just free land, nothing there, and he built it from zero. And he collects all this furniture from all his travel around the world. I mean, and all the furniture being collected by Stefan's family, Stefan, his father. I mean, the father and the mother started that during the end of 17th, beginning 1980, and Stefan still continue on finding that. I mean, from each travel, wherever he travels, Stefan out of Europe or in Morocco, and he find a beautiful thing, he bought it, and he bring it to the house. I mean, we have a little museum that Stefan's father started 30, 40 years ago, and Stefan continuing that. I mean, we're still on. By the way, as you because you talk about the piano, it's a very old Bühlhof that no one in Morocco have the same because they cannot fix it. It's a collection piece. Actually, just before the pandemic problem, we did find a guy. He came from Rabat, and he did fix it for us. I mean, we can sing on it now.
Oh my
Yeah.
goodness, I would love to be there for that.
Yes, and I'm sure you will do it because is that kind of relaxed feeling at
Yeah.
the Dar Ayniwen. I mean, it's like a museum, but you feel totally comfortable there. It's not like you wouldn't want to sit down at the dining room table and eat your dinner. And that's another thing. You have so many places where you can eat there
Yeah.
or dine on the grounds. You can either go in this fabulous Arabian tent. There is
Yeah.
their formal dining room or their dining
Yeah.
space, which is, I mean, it is truly for the movies.
So where did that idea come from for the dining tent?
Actually, before we had only 5 or 6 rooms, and we serve dinners inside the main house. I mean, the riad, that's where the piano is, and the chimney. We have a place fire there that we serve the guests, and people love that atmosphere. I mean, to have dinner close by the place fire. And once we start to have more and more rooms, we decided to build a space to be in the middle of the gardens with the birds and to have that Moroccan authentic design. And we did the place fire there, and we keep it as a Moroccan style inside, and we serve dinners there. And also we did respect that space because it's 145 or 146 meters square tent, and we serve only 10 tables or 11 tables there. I mean, in the big restaurant, they serve 100 people there, but for us, we serve only for 11 rooms.
That tent is beautiful. And then
Yeah.
if you don't dine in that gorgeous tent, you can dine in the home itself, in the
Yeah.
fabulous dining room with the antique furniture, etc. Or you can go outside. And
Outside,
there's several areas. There's one area that's actually kind of like a bar and a seating area with a fire pit
yeah.
and the stars. I mean, the Dar Ayniwen and the grounds are gorgeous during the day, but at night the stars are fabulous at the Dar Ayniwen, and you have those beautiful palm trees blowing in. in the breeze, and it really it's magic there.
Yeah. We add a little bit of candles. Yeah, we
Yeah.
add some candles, lighting, and we did fix a little bit of lighting during the evening also in the garden. That means you'll see that next time. We'll leave you some little surprise to discover once you are in set.
Okay, that sounds great.
Yeah.
For
Okay,
next
well,
time, yeah.
Yeah. So, Aziz, there's just one more question I wanted to ask you.
Yeah.
You seem to be very well connected in Marrakesh, meaning Astrid and I have talked about the guides that you provided for each of us, both Astrid when she traveled there on her around the world trip, and then for the AstridTravel Club. And the people you recommended were excellent. Like, there was just such a high level of quality. So how do you find these people? How are you connected to them?
You know, we've been on the industry for the last 20 or 25 years. That means we know how that works in Marrakesh. For example, we have our standard of friend of the house. For example, for the restaurants, we heard that a restaurant, it's a new open restaurant in Marrakesh. And Stephane must go there and check it. You don't go as a Stephane from Dar Ayniwen because they will know and they will treat them well. No, you go just like a guest. And he told me, okay, you can send people there or not, or you can leave it. Told to the guests, okay, it's a good atmosphere but not good food, or the opposite. You may love it. That means prepare your guests to go there.
So the places you recommend have been personally tested?
Of course, of course. Because, for example, recently in Marrakesh, you have thousands of it, but we recommend only 5 or 6. That's also been here for long years, and we know that they keep a little bit standard of quality, of course. Because most of the guests now, they start to come just for 5, 6 days, 1 week, and they want to go once at least outside. It has to be a good experience, of course.
I know the guide that Aziz put me together with was a retired professor from the university in either Marrakesh or university in Morocco, and he was brilliant. And he stayed with me 3 days and took me all through the Medina and back into the back areas where they actually make the goods, and showed me how everything was organized in the Medina, took me to all the different sites that I probably would have only seen a third of what I wanted to do, but he was able to navigate me all through the city. And Marrakesh is a maze. It's a maze. And while doing that, he gave me so much information that it came alive to me. It really did. I was always comfortable in Marrakesh, which I didn't want to say I was surprised, but I didn't know what to expect being, a Western woman traveling solo. I really didn't know what to expect. I wasn't afraid, but I didn't know what to expect. I didn't know how much I would have to, change what I did or how I would do it. But I mean, he made me feel I just understood everything, and so it helped me really uh, slide into the culture in my experience, and it was wonderful. He was great.
Well, Astrid, do you have any more questions specifically for Aziz?
Well, I wanted to ask Aziz. Well, I want him to give me some final thoughts and comments. But, what do you think people, because Madeline and I have talked about this, and we, even in getting people to go to Marrakesh with our travel club, there's still a little hesitation that maybe they won't be that comfortable in the culture, or there might be safety issues or whatever. And this is something that we work hard to overcome in terms of culture. So I would like for you to share with our audience some special things about Marrakesh and some things that you feel like will address any hesitation.
Okay, after all what the world lived in the last couple of months, people need to know that Marrakesh It's a very safe city, first of all. And people of Marrakesh is a very open-minded people, and they are very involved of tourism. That means the only thing that they have to live with, it's tourism. And they love people from outside. That means it's not like other cities, but in Marrakesh, people are very involved in tourism. And you may see Berbers, you may see Arabs, you may see people from the south, the Sahrawi people, all of them in one place with a beautiful mix. This is the advantage of Marrakesh, and you can see some Western, some locals living like Western people, other ones like really local people. It's a very beautiful city that people need to feel very safe. It's a very safe city. Of course, it's plenty of historic monuments. You have old town, new parts. It's a beautiful city that people need to come to see it. This is the advantage of Marrakesh. That means you have that mixed.
Right. I feel like visiting Marrakesh, not to sound dramatic, but I really do feel like it changed my life, and I felt like I had this expanded consciousness having visited there, because, you know, people will have their opinions and everybody wants to give you their 2 cents, but for you to experience something yourself like that, me personally, that's how I need to learn and make my own judgment. And when I visited Marrakesh, I totally fell in love. I never felt unsafe. I felt welcome. People would smile at you on the street, or like I've been told I'm a very smiley person. I like to smile at people, and people would smile back, and they don't do that everywhere. And you can just tell that people are, they're very friendly, and they are happy to have you, because, you know, they know that a lot of life in Marrakesh is dependent on tourism. So they're happy to have you there and to serve you. And it was, I just felt like it was an absolutely wonderful experience. And I tell everybody I meet, like, if they're, you know, talking about travel, I say, you have to go to Marrakesh. It's so wonderful. And you have to stay at Dar Ayniwen. So,
he summed it up. Marrakesh is a fabulous destination. It's safe. And when people are ready to travel again, it is a fabulous experience, whether you do for a short getaway or an extended period of time. And obviously, we are so enthused about what you will experience at the Dar Ayniwen. That's the only place to stay. So I think Aziz expressed that. So let me ask Stefan a few questions, and then we'll wrap this up. Okay, I did ask you, Stefan, before we got cut off. Does the Dar Ayniwen, the name, mean anything? Is there any significance to that?
Yes, actually, my father really loved Berber language, and he was speaking a little bit of it. And Ayniwen mean palm trees in Berber language. So it's the house of the palm trees.
Oh, yes. And the palm, yes, and the palm trees on the grounds are fabulous.
We have a lot,
Yes.
And there's a palm grove nearby, is that right?
Yeah, the Palmeraie area is called the Palm Grove. It's 10 kilometers squares. Yeah, that's how it's a kilometer square. So it's a big Palmeraie, big palm grove, and we are right in the middle of it.
And it's just full of palm trees. Beautiful.
Yeah, it makes sense to call it that name, which wasn't the easiest name marketing-wise. People that anyway, they say, what?
Yes, the I and the Y get lost in the spelling. Okay. Stefan, tell us what you think is unique about the Dar Ayniwen, and specifically what your fascination with birds are, and how you ended up creating this aviary, and tell us a little bit about that, because I found the birds to be unbelievable, especially in the morning when I would wake up or I'd start to hear them. I would always open my French doors so I could hear them singing. I mean, it was like something I had never experienced traveling.
It kind of happened by chance, but despite the fact that I have always been crazy about birds, and I always had, when I was a kid, we had canaries and lovebirds. And then I always wanted to have more, but we didn't have the space at the time because we were not living here. And I started just to do an aviary with lovebirds because they are very easy to take care of. And from there it started because the guests and the kids, they really love it. They were going to see, and I said, well, that's the idea. So I started talking to my father and my sister, and I was adding one more, and I, I I get known about the birds, and people calling me and say, oh, we have this, we have that, and it went. I completed the. I don't like to say collection, but all the birds that actually are okay to live in captivity and that you can take care of, and it makes sense to have them. I try to find them, and when they are here, so they become part of the garden, and I can tell you now that because we had no guests for now 7 months, they are very sad not to see people walking around and talking to them. Despite I do it, and Mohammed, who takes care of the birds, does the same. You can feel it.
Really?
Yeah,
I was gonna ask you if the birds could sense something different.
yeah, they know. They absolutely know that it's more quiet, and I know it's funny because I like the big parakeet, like the aras and the African gray and everything. You feel that they are missing the human contact because they are used to that. And some others, like the turacos that are wilder, a little bit more shy. During that time, that was the good time for them to do babies. So we had a few birth at Dar Ayniwen. So we have more.
I know when Gracella and I were there on the AstridTravel Club trip, you led us through the aviary, and it was very clear that those birds loved you. That was so
Yeah.
fascinating to watch, like how some were actually like quite attached to you. I can't remember the name of one, but he would squawk anytime you would walk away, and
Yes.
it really does seem like you give them very good lives. Like they seem like very happy and healthy. So it is sad to think about, like they're not having that human interaction anymore, because birds are a lot like humans and they need that. So
Yeah, and they have been used to it since the beginning, so
right,
it's a kind of weird for them.
right.
Mm.
Well, Stefan, what type of person do you think ends up staying at the Dar Ayniwen? I mean, is there a certain type that you could kind of
I don't,
share?
absolutely. It's very funny how I mean, I was hearing you talking about that earlier, and it's true that the people who find Dar Ayniwen, they are a certain type of people, and they have their expectation about the hotel where they come, and they actually picked it up through travel agent on the website and this. But it's true, when these people are here and they meet, they are kind of the same, or they have this kind of same interest, and their way of life connects in somehow. And it's always happened, but I haven't figured out how this works yet because it's just very surprising.
Well, and that's why I opened the podcast with kind of talking about uh, how I related to you and how you came across to me, and that it permeates the whole grounds, the people that stay there, the people that work with you, Stefan. I mean, there's love there. There really is, and I don't want to be
I
trite,
No,
but
no,
but
I think you're right.
it really is. There's a soul there. It's exotic, but it's very warm and comfortable. You don't feel any kind of weird vibes or anything that's off-putting. And
Yeah,
that is so extraordinary to create. And I don't think you can create it without it actually just being there in its essence to begin with.
yeah.
But your diligence and your love and everything about you and your staff, Stefan, is executed every day. And it's
Thank,
executed so subtly in a flow. It's beautiful.
yeah,
It's beautiful. I got it. I got your whiff totally.
yeah,
I'm serious and I can't wait to
yeah.
come back. So
With
let me ask.
pleasure.
Yes, yes, yes. I know Aziz talked about a memorable moment at the Dar Ayniwen when, 20 years ago, a family started coming, and then the daughter ended up having her wedding
Yes,
at the
yes,
Dar Ayniwen, which, I mean, that's really full circle. That says a lot. She
yeah.
had anywhere she could have chosen to have her wedding probably, and she wanted to have it there.
Yeah.
So what are some just a few memorable moments, I guess, that you've had at the Dar Ayniwen or being, uh, you know,
But
y-
what
y-
happened is I mean, we did three things that were like I would say out of the range of the hotel industry. It means like I've been working in production for a while. Like Aziz was mentioning models. I have a friend who was doing fashion shoots in Marrakesh. So he was welcoming groups who wanted to shoot in the country for magazines and catalogs and things like that. And sometimes they pick the house to do their shoots. So that was quite very interesting, and we met some great people, famous people, and it was an experience on its own. It's very different from running a hotel or what we do here. So that's one thing. The other thing that it's always funny how you know it, I heard a guy once on TV who was having a guest house, and he said, "Oh, sometimes you have guests, they pass by, and they are doing their own thing, and this, and you have other ones that will say friends for life." And it's true. I mean, during the last 8 months now, we have had plenty of phone calls of people that have been here, coming back, and we were in touch with them. And when I travel, sometimes I go to their house to visit them. That's quite amazing. I mean, when I started this, I didn't expect that at all.
yes,
And the third thing to conclude is each time I've never been running after weddings because it's a very stressful uh, thing to organize, and it's a big responsibility, particularly because you have everything, the catering, the weather, the all these things. But each time we did a wedding, I had to admit, I mean, when I look at the pictures, they are always amazing. So I'm happy about that. So we
yes.
had very good weddings here.
So, Stefan, I actually, when we were there for the AstridTravel Club trip, I arrived a day early, and I actually was getting there um, right after you had hosted, I believe it was your
Yes,
nephew's wedding.
yes, absolutely.
When I arrived, you invited me to come have dinner with your family, and I
Yeah,
can't tell you how much that really meant to me because like I had never been to Morocco. I was kind of
yeah,
nervous, and like on my own, like traveling by myself, and that was that is a memory that I will cherish forever. Your family was just as warm as you. They were all so welcoming and kind to me. Like they just who is this random girl? They just welcomed me in
yeah,
like it was nothing, and that
right,
was
yeah,
that was incredible. And I think it speaks to the overall environment at Dar Ayniwen
yeah,
because you've created it. You've created a place that people feel at home. Like I felt totally welcome
yeah,
there.
yeah,
I know. I sent Madeline off. I said, "Okay, Madeline, you have to go the day before. Get in line with Aziz. He will organize everything, etc." And I mean, she texted me back or emailed me back, and she said, "Oh my God, these people are fabulous." so,
yeah,
so
Well, you guys are a little bit of an inspiration for us in everything that we're trying to do because everything you do is so high quality, which is important, but it's also very intentional, and it's also very clear that you care about the experience that your guests have in everything you do. It's not just about
yeah,
making sure that, that their meals are wonderful, which they are, but like you're tailoring the experience, and you are helping facilitate something that really sticks with people.
I think when you do things with your heart and you really want to do well, in general, it works. So sometimes you may have some hiccups here and there because there is, anything can happen. But if you believe in what you do and you want really share what you have to offer, it works.
oh
So
yes.
Absolutely.
that's what's come out of this.
And we have to connect with each other with this horrible
Yes.
thing that has happened to the world. We have to push through this. I mean, we have to be careful and wait to understand what we need to do health wise, but we have to push through with this. We have to
Yeah.
reconnect with people, and we have to bring our life back. to places, to businesses, to everything. I'm very passionate about this. I mean, Madeline is young. She's a kind of a young version of me. I mean, I'm older than you,
Yeah. No.
Stefan. I really am, but I have this passion that
Yeah.
I want to keep these wonderful things about life, that spirit going. And so
Yeah.
that's Madeline and I. We've done a lot of soul searching during this pandemic. We've kind of recreated ourselves. I started out basically as a solo travel advisor. So I started that out of my love of
Yeah.
connecting with people and cultures all over the world. It wasn't about me. It was basically about the necessity to do that as
Yeah.
we become more and more desensitized with technology.
Mm.
We've got to, use that, but we've also got to stay humans.
Yeah. Absolutely.
And and you can't get that if you go to a place that doesn't have more depth to it, or at least that, you feel that difference, that spirit.
Yeah.
And that's what we're all about, and that's why we think the Dar Ayniwen has that our kind of I guess you'd say DNA, or what we consider to be really mindful quality travel experience
Yeah.
for
Yeah.
what we're going to experience after this pandemic.
So,
Yeah.
Stefan, something I want to ask you is I know that we all know that small businesses are really going to be struggling to come out of
Mhm.
this. Like these big hotel chains a lot of them might go out of business, but a lot of them are going to be fine. And Astrid and I are so passionate about places like Dar Ayniwen, and we really believe that it's places like yours that make traveling so enriching. It really changes your travel experience. So this might be kind of a hard question to ask, but do you have a plan to sort of weather the pandemic, and how do you foresee yourself coming out of this?
We we have been trying our best to. I mean, this is particular for me because it's the family home. So it's you don't leave the boat because business is bad. I mean, whatever it will need to take it up, I will do.
Right.
So that's what I've been doing to. I mean, if it. I mean, the worst scenario would be that I have to sell the property, but I don't want to do that. So I will try everything I can to keep it up and running.
Well, I certainly hope that travel comes back and that people feel safe to travel, and they feel safe to travel to Marrakesh and to the Dar
Yeah.
Ayniwen. And I think that one thing that is really your strength is you do have so many people who are repeat guests. And
Yeah.
we hope to be repeat guests, who have stayed
With
there and go
pleasure.
like, I will never stay any other place in Marrakesh. Like I will always
Yeah.
stay at Dar
Yeah.
Ayniwen. And I think people
What
know there's something special.
Yeah.
what I
Yeah.
want to do, Stefan, when travel opens back up, is I play a lot of competitive bridge.
Mm-hmm.
And so I have a whole group of lady friends who we go to tournaments, and we just love cards. Well, I
Okay.
want to bring a group of 8 people to
Mm-hmm.
Marrakesh to stay at the Dar Ayniwen, play cards at night, do fun things during the day. Let your wonderful attendant in the spa,
Mm-hmm.
scrub us down in the hammam, give us beauty treatments,
Yes.
detox us. I mean, I have
Yeah.
all kinds of things that I want to come back and do in Marrakesh with these women,
Yeah.
because I know they will love it. I mean, they will. You will not forget us when we come back.
All
So,
right.
but let me ask you a few more hard questions. First of all, when do
Okay.
you see Stefan travel opening back up? Do you have any feel for it?
Uh, Honestly, I mean, it seems that they are letting people fly from Europe when they have important matters, but not to tourists a little bit when it's organized. That's what I think has been happening. But they are reopening hotels slowly. So I think I mean, if the pandemic does not get worse and thing improves, we should be open for Christmas. And I hope by Easter we are back to a little bit of, a little bit of more traveling. And I mean, with the season, if the COVID goes away or improve, it should start in the coming month. Of course, if we have a vaccine, everything is going to change.
Yes.
Right.
So
Yes, I think the whole world is waiting on a vaccine or
yeah,
approved therapeutics. Here in the United States, we were waiting for yesterday. We still have to wait a little longer,
I know.
but we won't talk about that. So, okay, well, I've told Madeline all through this, just like you, Stefan, we just have to persevere.
Yeah,
When you have a passion for something, you just persevere.
yeah, you just
So,
have to hold. Yeah,
yeah, and so it's amazing how life does go on. So you just have to let it evolve. So
yeah,
I hear you. We're in the same spot and we're in this together. And I guarantee you, as
yeah.
soon as I can travel, I'll be back to the Dar Ayniwen, and I want to bring
Thank
those
you.
women that you will never forget. So,
Yeah, with pleasure. No, no,
okay.
we'll hold, and we know we do a lot of maintenance, so we are working on some improvements. But between confinement and the restriction, it's hard to have all the workers being here in the same time, so they have to work with the distance and everything. So we do little things. It takes time, but we are working on things.
Right.
So
Yeah.
I hopefully will you find a better Dar Ayniwen when you come.
Oh, we look
Well,
forward to it.
I know it'll be special. Okay, well, why don't you give us, Stefan, some final thoughts and comments about whatever is on your mind and, anything you can share about Marrakesh that the listeners who would have any kind of reservation really once travel opens back up uh, to not go to Marrakesh.
No, I think the authorities have been very serious, and they applied all their energy to put protocols in place. And Marrakesh is a touristic city, so it's. I mean, we have the feel. I mean, the Jamafat place being empty and closed is a nightmare for everyone.
Yes.
So it's really I mean, the population, the citizen of Marrakesh, they are very, very touched by this, and they really do everything they can to bring people back. I mean, they try to bring people from other cities, and when we had some holidays and people from Casablanca were coming and a little bit, but then again, with restriction and everything, it was a little. But I think, I mean, in the coming months, if when things improve, there is no real reason not to come. I
Right.
mean,
I think one thing that Marrakesh really has going for it is I think it's perfect for the traveler who wants to be able to get outside but is not into like camping or anything a little bit
yes,
rustic, because Marrakesh really is so beautiful and there's so many gardens. Like there's ample opportunity to get outside, and people, if they're visiting at the right time of year, Marrakesh is a great jumping off point to take a trip to the Sahara Desert,
yeah,
with which it doesn't get any more remote or socially distanced than that. Like I
yeah,
just
yeah, of
think
course.
it's to me, having been there and having been to Dar Ayniwen and been to the property, I just think of man, it would be the perfect place to go post COVID,
Yeah,
at least in my opinion.
we have that advantage that people can be here and they can be in their separate suite and garden, and we want them to mingle together and become friends. But if they
Right.
want to stay in their space, they can.
Right, and still
They
have
have
a
that
wonderful
possibility.
experience. Right.
Yes, absolutely.
Okay, well, I want to tell both of you, thank you so much for letting us interview you. Uh, I think y'all are great, and yeah, I hate to say goodbye,
Yeah,
but I do. I will see you again, And
pleasure. Yeah,
yeah.
we keep in touch. Yeah.
Yeah, we greatly appreciate it. Thank you very much for your time, and I'm glad we got everything worked out eventually with video and audio. So
Thank you.
Yeah. All right.
So okay, well, we wish you all the best.
Stay in touch.
Thank you. You too.
Thank you so
Stay
much.
safe, and we'll see
Take care.
each other very soon.